Welcome to Monster Mondays. So, we have a double feature here that we're going to be doing over these 2 weeks in advance so we can get ahead of ourselves. Chud.
Chud.
You know,
a ballistic humanoid underground dweller.
Or
Contaminated, hazardous.
no, contamination.
Hazardous.
Yeah.
Urban disposal.
There it is.
That was more of a mouthful.
That it is, man. I'm trying to say all of them together like I did. Anyway. Alright, so C.H.U.D.
C.H.U.D.
The ritual of C.H.U.D. Which is not in this.
No.
Alright, let's jump right into it. So the woman in the opening is actually Daniel Stern's wife, but is playing the captain's wife who comes to Daniel Stern's character about his wife. I thought that was kind of funny. But we get 2 Home Alone alums here in John Hurd and Daniel Stern, which I thought was, interesting. I always wonder when that happens if, one of them's cast and then they're like looking for somebody else and like, I know a guy. We work together on C.H.U.D. And like, we don't want him. we don't even want you now. Now that we know. C.H.U.D's an interesting movie because it's way more serious than you would expect it to be. And the photographer's character here, like played by John Hurd, I find his character to be kind of pointless to the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, even though he does stuff in the end, like his inclusion seems wedged in there. Like, I don't really understand what purpose he really serves.
Because student type.
Yeah, that one did not want to come out. So yeah, I was just, while we were watching this, I just kept trying to figure out his connection. Like, I know he's the photographer that was doing like a piece on the homeless, and then like he knows that woman, so like he goes down in there with her and he sees this bite out of the, but I don't know, he's kind of there by happenstance, and he really like when Halloween 2018 came out, I remember being annoyed because it felt like the whole time they were trying to figure out a way to get Laurie Strode to meet up with Michael Myers, even though, they took away the sister thing. And now it really just kind of had to happen by force. Dr. Sartan had to do what he did to push them together, and then that. So with this movie, we have the photographer, and we have his girlfriend who's pregnant, played by the chick from Throw Mama from the Train. And getting her involved felt very like the Laurie Strode thing. It was like very shoehorned in. Mm-hmm. Like, and I still can't figure out how the dog that was pulled through the sewer in the opening of the movie is somehow hanging from their little entryway into the sewer from the bottom of their house. There's just like a trap door that goes down into the sewers. Like, does that exist in houses in New York? Like, you just have an access hatch down into the sewers in your home?
Think so?
It's like a townhouse, but yeah, like that's a thing.
I don't think that's
a big one that you open up and walk down in there. That just doesn't seem right. But maybe they do exist. Even if they do exist, why the fuck is the dog hanging under their house specifically?
Yeah,
this definitely raises questions for me. Are they trying to say that? What? I don't know. He's not in on it.
No, I don't think it's supposed to be that he's in on it. I think it's just that's another part of the sewer, and the idea is that the Chuds have, they're everywhere in the sewage system.
So they took the
dog. So that just happens to be in that area that they're hanging him up.
So they just grabbed him and hung him up under the house that happened to be the photographer that was shoehorned into the story.
Yeah.
I mean that's
it's
a
a huge stretch, but I don't know what other reason. There's no reason presented by the movie that it would be there, like...
But the dog should be hanging from the sewer it was pulled through. The sewer lid it was pulled through. Uh-huh. Right? So, like, it pulls the woman down there because they're cannibalistic, right? They only want human meat. Mm-hmm. So they're there to bite humans. And when the dog comes down with her, it's useless to them. So they just let it hang there by their neck. For them to take the dog and then hang it up in a different area that just so happens to be under the house of one of the main characters, when they're never like there otherwise, but then all of a sudden they're all there. And it's weird. The Chuds attack very randomly. This is a big part of the movie that I feel maybe it's a budget constraint, because they only ever attack like two to three places. There's like, okay, the girl gets pulled down in the sewer to the opening, sure. But then from there, you really only get the diner massacre. Mm-hmm. And then they come after the photographer's wife for some unknown reason. They don't seem to be going after anybody else in town. Nobody else is screaming out. Nobody else has Chuds in their house. So why would they specifically go for her? She opened up the hatch and they were like, oh, I heard something, so let's go after her. It just seems like they're very sporadic. They're supposed to be contained to this one single area, and they're just going to kill them all by filling the sewer with gas and blowing that up, which is one of the most insanely idiotic decisions possible, because how many houses would that affect? How many, like...
Oh my god, so many.
Would blow the fucking sewer lids off of the sewer, like the the pressure from the gas and the fire in there would explode, and the damage would be catastrophic to both property and to life. Yeah. So that whole plan is just asinine. But it's just, there's the diner, there's the phone booth with the little girl and her grandfather, and then there is the her house. And that's it. And it's like, they're just randomly attacking like one full diner and then one damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. Nobody else. It's just, but then if you blew up the sewers and they do come up above ground, how the fuck could you possibly know you got them all? You definitely didn't, because they're up attacking people in diners. Yeah. Here's the breakdown of logic in that. They come to a diner that's above ground that had maybe 10 to 15 patrons inside. Mm-hmm. And they know that they're above ground now, going on a massacre. So their decision is to blow up the sewers in which they knew they once were, but now they know they might not be anymore. So you're blowing up a place where they might not be anymore. That's going to damage everything in that whole block area to may or may not get them.
It doesn't work.
Like, if we knew for sure they were all down there, right? And it was like, they're going to get up here eventually. Like, they're getting closer to the surface. Like, someone got attacked here. They're making their way here. Once they get here, there's no stopping them. Once they're here, that means they'll hit land. That means they'll come up onto the surface. Then we can't contain it, right? That's the whole premise of like every zombie movie. We've got to contain the area. We've got to quarantine everything so that it can't escape. You don't blow up the town that's quarantined when zombies are already running amok 3 cities over. Right? That doesn't do anything. No. That doesn't stop the containment. Yeah. New plan time. Yeah. Or spread out the radius or. But with this, it's not even a radius because burning the sewers, it might kill some of them, but they act like at the end of this movie, once they blow it up, it's like credits.
That
Like,
was
we
it.
got him.
We just accomplished it, yeah.
Right, and you would think with Chud 2, which obviously has literally nothing to do with this at all in any way, shape, or form, that would just be the continuation of, like, we didn't get them.
Sure, yeah.
But
that's not the case.
It's not the case.
I really like the design of the Chuds, and I feel like we didn't see them enough in this first movie, which I think is possibly partly a budgeting issue, but also because it seems like the movie is drawing a parallel between, like, the zombies and the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers and homeless people. It would have been cool to see them coming to places where they might have normally been going as a homeless person, like begging for food outside of, certain stores, or trying to hang out at libraries, or, like places that they can loiter, and then attacking people that are going to those institutions. Like, I think that would have been really cool to see.
Yeah.
But with how the movie is, it obviously is way more random, and it doesn't seem like there's a point for them to be attacking the people that they are attacking.
No, it's random.
So.
No, I agree. I think that they could have had a really cool social commentary here on the homelessness problem and how they're just kind of thrown out and forgotten about and ignored. Like, they could have shown a lot more of homeless people getting, I think what would have been cool is if we could have spent a little bit more time with the homeless, and that would have given an actual purpose to the photographer. He could have been investigating the homeless and really, been intimately getting to know their lifestyle and kind of trying to, shine a spotlight on it, and all the bigwigs in town don't give a fuck. And then he tries to bring him a problem, like, listen, like, they're dying down there and this and that. Like, I know that this isn't your problem, but it could become your problem. And they're like, they're not our problem. And then they become their problem, right? They have some big fancy gala, and the Chuds break in and fucking, kill all the bigwigs with all the money who could have stopped the homeless problem, and chose not to.
Yeah.
They could have had something really cool there, but they just chose to go with, there's people who live in the tunnels, and there's contamination down there. They turn into monsters, they randomly attack people, and they blow them up at the end.
Yeah, the government's trying to cover it up. Yeah, and I mean, the photographer is doing a project on the homeless already.
He is, but
we
it's
just
not
don't...
part of the film.
Well, I think that's kind of what the intention was that he's photographing the homeless population. Obviously, he has a friend who's homeless, and I think the idea was to make it seem like he was kind of involved in their lives in some way, or at least was, making friendships. But like you were saying, I would have loved that way better if he had been, talking to the homeless and taking their photographs, and them kind of sharing that they're afraid of, something that's happening, or like all the ones that go underground. Like, we get a little bit of it with the pastor cook, the preacher cook, where he's like, all my underground people are disappearing. But it would have been really nice to have the photographer also noticing that trend, because then it links them together.
Yeah.
It makes the story a lot more succinct. And then obviously the police officer has a clear motivation for why he's getting involved, not only because of his job, but also because his wife is missing, and he's, connecting the dots there. So...
The photographer in this just comes off as a smug asshole who really only cares about himself. And when his wife girlfriend announces that she's pregnant,
oh gosh,
his reaction to that is just super awkward. And obviously he's not really that into it.
No.
And I don't know. See, I feel like what should have happened there with him is, he should have been hanging out with the homeless more, and really connecting with that side of the world, so much so that, like, it's creating an actual, like, rift between him and his girlfriend at home, because she's more attached to materialistic things, and she's this model, and she's this and that, and he's like trying to get her to understand, and she's like listening because she's like his girlfriend, but at the same time she's like kind of disconnected from it. And then it's still kind of like that it's not my problem kind of thing, and you're you need to be here with me now, like, we're gonna give birth. And it could have been like that, like, well, how can I bring a kid into the world when, you know, all these people
Sure.
are struggling, and like, what if this happens to our child? Like, it could have been really cool, interesting drama there that would have added to the stakes, you know, and made me care about these characters more. Right. So I just think there's a lot of missed opportunities. As far as the design of the Chuds and the budget, yeah, I can assume that the budget was probably lower, but I do like I do like the creature design.
Me too.
You know, there's room for improvement, but they're memorable enough. Maybe they
Yeah.
ran out of flashlights to put in the eyeballs.
I love their eyes. I love how wide set they are.
Yeah.
Like on the sides of their head almost.
Yeah, a little bug-eyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. All right, let's see. The cop in this movie is named Bosch. Bosch? Bosch?
Bosch.
Bosch. Right? That's how you say that. Which is, you know, we got a Amazon original cop show right now that's went like 5 seasons and is like super popular, named Bosch. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like a prequel. This is what Bosch was up to before the show. Was fighting Chuds. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that we could take a whole video and talk for hours about. But like, I always like to do some kind of small, like, PSA rant of sorts, where it's like, people don't choose to be homeless. Like, I think that we frown on the homeless because they're a eyesore or they're an irritation, and you know, they interrupt the flow of our day by making us feel bad that, you know, we have to look at them, or that we don't give, you know, we didn't give them money, and then we're like, you know, I don't want to think about it, and they're constantly in your face. And yeah, some of them are super fucking annoying, and I do feel like they have the opportunity, especially now. I mean, there's so many jobs everywhere, and a lot of these people that are outside of Sedona are totally capable of working. It's just they don't want to, and I'm, you know, not really feeling sympathy for that. But growing up in LA like I did, being around so much homeless, you know, the streets are really just kind of where we throw the people that we don't know what to do with, right?
Yeah.
It's either, you know, they're not crazy enough to be a threat, right? And to anybody for the most part. I mean, they can become one, but like, they put them in an institution or something for a little bit, and they're not crazy enough to be there, but they're also not sane enough to hold a job.
Sure.
And so they're just kind of like, well, figure it out. And man, it does nothing good for their minds. They really fucking just are. They devolve so much while they're out there. And you know, I was homeless for 7 months of my life, and you know, so stuff like this, I can tell you that it was my choice and it wasn't my choice, right? It was like, trust me, if I had a better choice, I wouldn't have been doing it.
Sure.
Right? I wasn't like out there being lazy. Like, anybody who knows me knows that I'm one of the least lazy people you'll ever fucking meet. So it wasn't a laziness thing. It was just a circumstance thing. And I, you know, yeah, I pulled myself up out of it, but I had the ability to do that, not only with help from others, but help from my own sane mind. Right?
Well, even for the people, you know, that are homeless and want to work, there's a lot of roadblocks still to getting jobs. I mean, the main thing is that you need an address. Yeah. And that's a huge block for people. But like you said, I mean, the more that you're without like consistent food and shelter, the worse off your mental state and emotional state gets. And it's super tragic. And I think that this movie, you know, was kind of addressing it, especially with like the demonization of them, you know, as being, you know, cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. But it definitely could have explored it more, and especially considering how serious of a film it was. Like, I think it could have had a lot of social commentary to present on the matter, and that would have been good, because I think, you know, homelessness, just like mental health in this country, is always a topic that I think needs more education on and more awareness brought to, because there's so much misunderstanding and villainization of people who are homeless or mentally ill, or the combination of both, and it's just a real shame. It's awful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll stop it there because, yeah, I could go on for another hour on that, but let's just keep it there. There are so many familiar faces in this for me. Like, every other person that's, like, stepped on camera was like, oh my god, oh, I know that person. Oh, he's been in 100 things. That person's been in this movie. This person's been in that movie. I already named a couple of them, or I should say a few of them, but the real cool one here is John Goodman as the cop in the diner right before the massacre, hitting on the girl and being a dick. He's one of those people, and maybe it's just like the fat jolly guy kind of thing, but he's one of those people like a John Candy that, I don't know, there's something about them when I see them, it's very pleasant.
That's funny because I thought that because he was kind of being like a creep in that scene,
yeah,
and I think that he does a good job at playing like the goofy, lovable character and also like a mean person.
Sure.
Which is a really cool range for somebody to have, because a lot of times it's like you're one end of the spectrum or the other. So for me in that scene, I was like, he's not likable to me at all. And, obviously I think of him in other things that he is more likable in, so.
But he's, like, okay, in that scene, though, I could be wrong, but my reading of the situation was that this was a common thing between him and the waitress.
Oh, maybe.
Like, this is and that was just kind of that time period, right?
Sure.
Where women were objectified by men and were just kind of like, rolls off their back, like, this happens, but most of them had no, further intention other than the cat calling and the like, oh, baby, you want to come home with me? And then, their wife shows up and they're like, I was just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it could have been
much different times.
Interaction.
She didn't seem like she was cornered.
Annoyed though. But I'm not gonna read the situation or go into it. But you are cornered when you're at a place of work and
That's
you're
true.
being hit on. You don't have an opportunity to get away.
She seemed annoyed.
So
I'd have to watch the
remember her
scene
seeming
again.
annoyed, but that could also be my own projection of I would be annoyed in this situation. So I don't know. But I mean, it was cool to see him.
You never had somebody who's
regularly
playfully hitting on you that you're rolling your eyes at, but it's a thing between you two?
Not men. I've had female coworkers that have done that, but that's always kind of
Wow.
has an air of
That's
friendship and a flirty friendship type thing, not I actually want to do this or something, or give them the
no, it's not about
opportunity.
it actually wanting to do with it. It's that people have their work husbands.
No, I've never had a work husband.
Yeah. Okay.
But now I do, because I work with you.
Yes.
So
now you have a literal
real husband.
Yeah, literal real work husband. Well, play flirting in a social setting with someone that that you run into, and it's all harmless shit, is very common.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a common thing.
So I don't know what it was with them. I like John Goodman, okay?
I do too.
Maybe he was a fucking rapist in this movie and I just saw through it because he's fucking
he's a good
James
man.
P. Sullivan. That's what it really comes down to. When I hear that voice, it's just like, boo, kitty. Anyway. And so it's a really interesting scene here where the photographer goes down into the sewers with the homeless person, the homeless woman, and he sees this guy's leg, which has been completely fucking torn. And this leg has to be amputated. There's no way to save it. It's straight to the bone all the way down on the top. There's nothing to save there. But then the captain and the soup kitchen reverend dude, they go and break into his house, into the photographer's house. So there is some connection, but it just still feels like one of them could have been a photographer. Or the way I wrote it, in my head right now to actually have him like come to the soup kitchen to interview more homeless people, running into the guy who runs the soup kitchen, and then them kind of having an interaction and him interviewing him and getting to know him, and then he's like, you know, what have you seen down there in the sewers? And then when the captain comes to talk to him, connection. Actually have it feel like they all connect. Doesn't matter. Anyways, they break into his house and they find the pictures of this guy's leg. A chunk taken out of his leg like that. Except for the photographer didn't take a camera down there with him that we could see. Yeah. Now maybe I go back and rewatch the scene and I just totally missed it. But I don't think it's there. I don't think it's there. So I don't know how he took pictures. He didn't have a fucking smartphone on him.
I think we did rewind it in the moment because you pointed that out and we were like, where was the camera?
Maybe I did. He don't have a camera.
I don't think he
I'm
does.
like 99% sure he doesn't have a camera. So what? He went, because it's a fucking labyrinth down there.
Yeah,
like,
he saw it, went back home, grabbed his camera.
And it's really well lit down there, by the way. They always do that in movies. It's like, be a lot darker. But yeah, I mean, if you think anybody chooses to live in those conditions, you are out of your fucking mind.
No way.
That is dangerous.
Yes.
It is so dangerous. The amount of diseases and the amount, like if you fall or if there's a collapse you're done. You fucking it's over. It's like living in a cave, like, you know, like with little tunnels, like The Descent or something. I mean, who the hell wants to live in? He's like she's taking him this way and that way and down and up and around and through these little small passages, and he's like, oh, I don't want to get my clothes dirty. Yeah. What the fuck? They're not dirty yet?
Yeah, how are they
not dirty?
Yeah.
I don't understand that one. But yeah, I did not see a camera, so he went all the way back up by himself and then remembered how to get back there just to take a picture of the guy's leg and come back up. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. He's a photographer and he wants those shots, so he sees the leg. But it just seems fucked that he would go get a camera instead of, like, I don't know, medical help. Like, oh, I care so much about the homeless.
Your bag? Did you bring? Did you bring
bring antiseptic or gauze?
Or maybe even like some water.
Or like a saw. I'm gonna play a game. Yeah, he would have to have that thing taken. But yeah, I'm gonna run home really quick. You gotta get. Maybe
just stay right there. Don't move. I like that pose.
Yeah, don't touch it.
Great.
No, don't clean any of it. I like the amount.
The better.
I like the amount of pus in there.
Ew.
Let's see. The actor who plays like the guy working from the government that wants to cover this up. There's so much there to laugh about, because number one, the actor having to deliver the line of cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers to them with like a straight face in like a serious movie, like that must have just been like a tough day. They're like, all right, action. He's like, all right, guys, so what this means is this is gonna be tough. Like you're supposed to say that like it's a genuine, like dramatic moment.
Yeah.
It's cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. It's the most absurd fucking thing.
Yeah.
And he delivers it so straight. I mean, kudos to him for that. I'm going to say something about it at the end, because there's such a breakdown of logic with like trying to shut these people down, but then showing these people. It makes no sense. I'll come to it real quick. I'm just going to make sure I don't miss anything else here. When Daniel Stern's character is going to like make a phone call really quick, and then the guy who's following him like runs up and like grabs his quarter and swallows it. That's a weird flex.
That is a weird flex.
Like, just think what I could. Just
what
think,
else I could swallow?
Yeah. You know, he's just like, he does something else and he's just like.
Oh my god!
Just like
was that a
Psycho
watermelon?
Gore Man. Or just like the warrior's death. Yeah.
Oh, it is
No, he picks the whole Daniel Stern up and he just swallows it.
Oh, he swallows the whole one?
Yeah, the whole
Not
person.
Like, he doesn't like lay down in the open?
No. It's just such a... I mean, I wonder if that was ad-libbed. Like, you think they wrote it in there?
They're like...
Or like they put it in there like...
that's... Alright.
Alright.
It's like, it makes sense with the character, don't worry.
The guy, they're just like, don't fuck with him.
We don't know what else he can swallow.
And we'll put it, just scary. It was weird. He swallows his quarter. It's so unnatural. Anyway. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is part of it, but he doesn't want the cop to tell anybody because the cop's like, well, I gotta tell this, and they're like, no, you can't tell anybody. Why'd they show him then?
Yeah.
They take him down there and show him, and they explain everything to him, and then they're like, but you can't tell anybody.
Like,
why tell me? What's the point?
Just so he knows.
No, that's only gonna make him fucking
want to tell even more.
Not only tell more because now he has all the information, but now he's gonna want to investigate more.
Sure, yeah.
Right? He's gonna want to shut this down. It already killed his wife. Like, why the fuck would you tell a guy who's on this mission to shut you down and to expose this, and you're like, oh, come on over here. Here it is. But don't tell anybody.
It's like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe like if they gave him inside information, he'd feel satisfied.
No.
Is what the idea might have been, but no. Obviously, like
what it could have been is, we'll let you see. There could have been a preface. This would have made sense to a degree. It would have made more sense than this. Like, hey, if you can guarantee us, you won't tell anybody, right? Like, give us something that we can use against you.
Sure.
Something.
Yeah.
To make it be like, or like, we'll help you find your wife, or we have a location.
If we tell it.
You know, whatever.
Yeah. An incentive.
But just like, here's the information, don't tell anybody, police captain. It's the fucking captain of the police force. You're going to tell that guy and then be like, don't tell anybody. You already told the head of fucking police.
Yeah, that's the person that you don't want to find out.
The only person above him is like the chief
president.
and then the commissioner. Right? Like the captain is the captain of the whole fucking like little precinct, and then there's the chief, then there's the commander. Right? Like, it's a big person in the police force. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't tell that person. You don't tell any cops.
The dirty secrets. Yeah, I would just don't tell any cops.
You don't see, or maybe just don't pollute.
Or that would be a good option.
That's not a good, that's not, it's not good to do. Anyway. Oh yeah. This part makes zero sense. So, number one, they send like this death squad down into the sewers to kill the Chuds. Okay, so remember that. Then they send the cops people down there with them, and they're bringing like cameras and stuff, and they're like, well, no, you can't use those. And they're like, oh, well, you know, we have these other people here, we'll burn you down if you try to touch us. Or is it the other way around?
Wait, the camera?
So they send down the people.
It's...
The people that work for the government are the ones with
the death squad or whatever.
The flamethrowers.
Yes.
And then the people they send down are ones that have like cameras.
The police.
And they're like, you can't film.
Yeah.
And it's like, this isn't the days of, as I said, like cell phone cameras where they pull them out last second. They hauled those down there.
Yeah.
The whole way with them. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, but wait, you can't use cameras.
So it's like...
You didn't notice this the entire time? Okay, that's fucking stupid and funny to me. Secondly, they send a like mercenary death squad down there with flamethrowers. And the guy says to them, get out of there at the first sign of danger. You're sending a fucking death squad, an attack battalion onto monsters.
Yeah.
And they're like, if there's any signs of danger, it says, I think I wrote it down specifically. I said, at the first sign of trouble. At the first sign of trouble. You're going down there to find monsters who eat people. They know they've eaten people at this point, and they're sending them down there with flamethrowers, and they're like, if you see any trouble, leave. What do you mean? What are we doing down here if it's not to run into trouble?
Right.
The point of this flamethrower is I point it at the trouble,
right,
and the trouble goes away.
Uh-huh. But no, they should just leave.
Like, you see anything bad down there that's trouble, leave. We're down here for trouble. What do you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, why would you even say that to, like, a death squad?
They could have just sent down, like, other people, like, random people. And been like, hey, just, like, look around.
What the line should have been is, and it could have been a moral issue, and the cameraman could have, like, fought back against it, is like, you fucking kill anything you see down there.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa, what if there's homeless people, there's people alive down here, and they're like, burn them.
Yeah.
They could be contaminated. This would make sense. But, hey, if you see anything off, run. What? You hired us to kill like we're fucking mercenaries. They're not mercenaries. They're fucking like army or military.
They see like the shadow of a rat. They're like, trouble.
Out.
Gone.
That line made me laugh out loud. What do you mean the first sign of trouble? They're there for trouble. All right, moving on. And yeah, they're trying to kill the soup kitchen guy who's nobody. He's a fucking homeless, like, soup kitchen dude who no one listens to and thinks fucking crazy, who talks like one of those guys who's into, like, deep into conspiracy theories. They go and try to kill that guy, but then they're taking around the captain of the police and showing him all the information and then letting him loose back into the public without a tail, without, like, any threats, without anything. It's like, you better not tell.
Yeah.
But then the soup kitchen guy, they're like, kill him.
Kill him, he knows too much.
What?
He's kind of got.
Why would you tell the captain of police but kill a fucking soup kitchen dude? It doesn't make any sense. What are they doing?
Unwarranted threat.
Yes. So fucking stupid. And yeah, so all the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers are the homeless people.
Yes.
Turned from the
humans to chuds, the chudified.
The chudified. And dudes cover up on TV, gas blew place up, so we're putting more gas down there.
Yeah, whenever they're about to put the gas in, he is on the news.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what's going on? Like, because they're at the diner where all the blood and everything is.
Oh,
and
this is
no
right.
Bodies.
So they
and
say,
they're like, it's a gas leak.
Yeah, so they say that yeah, exactly. They say that there's like, the reason everything happened, the reason the diner is, all the people in the diner are dead and anything, they tell everybody on television that there's a gas leak and that it blew up. And their solution to that they actually tell people is that they're going to pump more gas into the sewers to rectify the gas leak that already blew places up.
You're like, what?
These guys are just not good at hiding secrets. That is really what it comes down
to. Oh, no, it's gas. We just gotta fix it with some more gas.
Yeah, just put some more gas on the gas.
Put some more gas on the gas.
So, like, for any firefighters out there, if you see, like, a forest fire raging, instead of dumping water onto it,
just throw more fire on it.
Just throw some gasoline right onto the top of the fire. It should fix the issue.
It'll be fine.
Like, oh, this forest is on fire because of some gas, so we're just going to take some more gas, and we're going to throw it on top of that fire, and it should be putting it out by nightfall.
Yeah, it's the same kind of logic that guy uses when he tries to cover it up.
Although people today, I don't even think they pay attention to half the shit they watch in the news. They just know they agree with that side of the coin. You know, whether it's Fox News or CNN or whatever fucking side of the coin they land on, they just watch it and they go, that's bad. I know it's bad because Fox News is saying it. Like, it really is. People are just dumb as fuck these days and don't actually listen to anything. Because if you actually pay attention, they contradict themselves every 5 seconds.
Sure.
Every 5 fucking seconds, they contradict themselves. And it's like, yeah, I'm not watching this anymore. But these people are just like, yeah. And this is it. It's like, put more gas on the gas.
Like, okay.
Oh,
Maybe-
that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm gonna just say outright that if the guys down in the sewers survive this, they're still coming up and either turning into chuds or they're going to die of cancer very soon. They are exposed heavily
One of those is likely.
to the chudified gas.
The chudified gas.
The contamination, and then all the gas down there as well, which would be, could kill you hours after you got out of there if you had enough carbon monoxide poisoning. So that's not good.
No.
And let's see. Oh God, yeah. So there's a scene where the wife goes into the dark room, and then the Chud comes through, and then she like waits up on the top, right above the door. There's like a container of like developer that's like really volatile, and all it's on like a real weak ledge that's right above the door that constantly opens and closes, so that thing could get shooken, right? And all that's covering the top of this thing, this volatile chemical that's hanging right over the door that would fall right onto you if you walked through it and it fell off, is a thin piece of aluminum foil that is barely draped over the top of it. It's just like kind of like, you just take it and you just go.
No, not even. They were just like.
It wouldn't do.
They didn't try and compress it.
Foil?
It would do nothing. It would instantly spill.
Foil?
Yeah.
Foil. There's no way to foil that fucking. No, but seriously.
That plane was underdeveloped.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. When I saw it, I was just like, that's really it?
It gets the Chud, his eyeballs. He gets it on his eyes.
You don't think that would they'd put like a tight sealed lid and put it somewhere that isn't above where you walk in?
Yeah. No. Isn't that where you put like all of your bleach?
Maybe she brought it up there with her, but I don't think so. I think she like gets up there and just sees it.
Yeah, it looks like it was already up there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was trying to help, but I don't think it's there.
No.
And their necks elongate like Evil Dead 2. Hey, that's what I saw.
It's great.
Yeah, really and Edna, she's got the big neck, and it's only one does that though. And then, they blow up the dude, the government guy, which then blows up the sewers, killing thousands in the city, and it's a happy ending. Everyone's dead.
Resolved.
Yeah.
Contain Chuds.
Then everyone throws back on their news stations, and they're like, don't worry, we're going to put more gas down there.
Just more gas. That's our solution now.
It's going to fix it eventually. The more gas, the more betterer.
Is that the slogan now?
Yeah.
The more gas, the more betterer. Come to New York. Or wherever. Is it New York for sure?
Yeah.
It's for sure New York?
Yeah. So,
the more gas, the betterer.
I think this script was underdeveloped.
Yes.
And, that's it.
Yeah.
So, next week we will be covering Bud the Chud. One of the most hated movies of all time because, yet again, people are stupid.
People are stupid. That movie is amazing.
It's funny.
And tune in next week and we'll tell you why.
I don't think anybody who's watched my channel for a while would be surprised in the slightest that I like Bud the Chud.
No, I don't
There's
think
no
so.
way. After Slumber Party Massacre 2 and all the dumb shit that I love, it's par for the course.
It's so good. It's so good.
But anyway, guys, until next week, bye.